one of the smallest countries but with the biggest history. In this podcast, we'll explore the history of the land of Israel, its culture, its places, and the stories nobody tells you. Welcome to Israel con Mati.
The resolution of the Dutch Committee for Palestine was adopted by 33 votes, 13 against, 10 abstained.
I want to live to see that day of peace between you and us, of peace between all our neighbors and us.
My own interpretation.
No.
At least it didn't hit hard.
Hello, everyone. As you can see, we are in Jerusalem. We're in the old city in a very privileged place. We're in the Christian Information Center. And I have with me here Sister Naomi.
Hello.
Thank you for having me here. This is amazing. I've never seen this view before.
Thank you.
For the people who speak Spanish, we will have subtitles, so bear with us. So we met because we are in the same course. We're in a tour guide course. And to be honest, I was very surprised with your presence there. I was not expecting a nun. You go to an Israeli tour guide course, you're usually not expecting a nun to show up. And I was even more impressed when I spoke with you, because at least in my head, a nun is a very, very conservative person, very strict and whatnot. And you are a very cool person, very open-minded, very cheerful. Everything about you was a surprise to me. So I'm very glad to be here with you.
Well, thank you.
I have prepared some questions. I was just telling you that some of them might sound silly or obvious, but some of the viewers probably don't know about the answers. I don't know about many of the answers.
Well, we'll see if I know the answers.
We'll see what happens. And I will start with a very open question.
Okay.
Who are you?
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Okay. Well, my name is Sister Naomi. Zimmerman is my last name. I'm from the United States, and I have been a sister for 35 years. Our sisters had a house here in the Holy Land, and our Mother John was looking for more sisters to come. And I was a very new sister then. And when she put it out on the floor, who would like to come? I said, well, I'll go. And she laughed. I wasn't thinking of someone who's new, but so I came for a couple years to visit. I'd come and go. And then finally, the year before I made my final vows, my perpetual profession, she sent me here as a year of preparation for my life commitment. And I loved it. It was, I had come as a young person in a youth group for a pilgrimage, and I knew I would be back someday. I just didn't realize I'd be back for this long. I've been here for 22 years on and off. Most of my religious life has been here.
Wow.
So
that's very cool.
Yeah.
And lots of your life, like your full life, has been here too. I don't know how old you are,
but...
About
a third of I'm 60.
Okay. But a third is a long time.
Yeah, about a third of my life.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So my next question is, why did you decide to become a nun? What were you doing before it, and how did you wake up someday and went like, okay, that's what I want for me?
Okay, well, it's a process. And I met the sisters first when I was in high school. One of my friends, her family related to my community were Franciscan Sisters of the Eucharist. And I used to go to things with her, and I started going to a youth group. So I got to know some of the individual sisters. I would go to their place on the weekends and help. They have a small farm, they had animals. I liked that. I didn't have animals growing up, so it was a new experience for me. When I went to college, I still was part of the youth group, and I started doing some deeper things spiritually with the community. And I always sat there thinking, I could do that. I wasn't sure. I didn't think I was supposed to be a sister. I didn't know that I was called. But In the Catholic Church, we say that God does call us. He calls us to marriage, or he calls us to serve in the church. For men as a priest, for women as religious. Priests can also be part of religious communities or individual. And as much as I would have loved to be married and have a family, I just feel like through my relationship with the sisters, I discerned that that's what he was calling me to do. So I asked to enter the community.
Well, do people usually ask to enter or are asked to enter, or do both things happen?
It's a free will choice.
Okay.
Do you build a relationship with the individual sisters? I mean, they do talk to you about what their life is about, or, you know, if you're in a formal period of discernment, they can, you know, help you discern it. But no, it's a free will choice. You know, we choose.
No, but
Yeah.
I mean, in most cases, do people approach the community to become part of it, or does the church or the youth groups reach out to people to show them what it is all about, or both things happen?
I think it's a little of both. I mean, I think that the religious communities do have activities and different offerings that they invite people to if they feel that you might have a religious vocation. And I think a lot of times it's other people that you know the communities that bring you in. Some of the sisters who have joined our community found our community on the web.
Oh.
Or people who think that they might have a religious community and don't know any communities will go to these vocation retreats or weekends that have showcased a bunch of different communities. But it really, for our community for sure, it's you develop a relationship and through that you discern.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. My next question is, why do we call you sister? Because I know very little about Christianity, even though I'm Argentinian and it's a very Christian country. Why sister? And is there, because I know there's a father, like if you go to a church, you can call the priest father, and then a nun can be called a sister. Why sister? And is there a brother? Because I've never heard of a brother.
That is an excellent question. I'm not sure anybody's ever asked me that before. So this is my own interpretation.
No.
At least it didn't hit hard. It was a gentle fall.
Yeah, I think so. And I have a... Yes. You were saying?
Okay, so I think that in religious life, it is in many ways it's a call to similar to family life, where you participate. I didn't join just to be by myself. I joined because I wanted to be part of the bigger community of other people who have chosen the same way of life that I have. And I think we are called to be sisters to each other, to the other members of our community, but also to the people outside. Traditionally, religious worked as nurses and teachers, and I think a lot of that came out. Even women who were nurses that were not religious were called sister, because it's a service that you provide, like a sister would do for each other in your own family. There are religious brothers who live a community life. We have Franciscan Brothers of the Eucharist as apart but separate from our own community. Many religious, there are different religious orders that are just made up of brothers, some that are just made up of sisters, some that have priests only or priests and brothers. For example, the Franciscan custody. When you go to the different Christian holy places here that are under the custody of the Franciscans, you will find some that are called father, some that are called brother. The fathers are, of course, priests. They're ordained. The brothers have vows.
Very cool.
Okay.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the idea of the family-like connection,
mm-hmm.
even with people who are not specifically from your family,
mm-hmm.
because it's a community that feels like a family.
See, even in our community, we have mothers, not women who have given birth, but who for the community have brought forth life in some way. So we call our superior's mother our mother general. And she is a mother to us. She's a nurturing, guiding person who leads us forward together.
Very nice. Next question is, you said that you asked to come to Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Why? And what did you know or think about Israel before coming that made you come? Actually, you told me that you were sent here to as part of your initiation in the role. Mm-hmm. But what did you know or think about the place before coming, and what changed about your perception once you were here?
So I told you I first came as part of a youth group. So I was 18 the first time I came.
Oh.
And we were here for 2 weeks. We were here during the Catholic Holy Week. And I just fell in love with it. For Catholics, for Christians, it holds the place of the life of Jesus and our faith. And so that was my first motivation to come. My motivation to come back was that I fell in love with the place the first time. What did I know about Israel, about the Holy Land before? I knew that it was the place of the life of Christ and the resurrection, the foundations of my faith. That's all I knew. I didn't know anything else, nothing else.
Wow.
What has changed? I realized that this is probably the most complex place in the world, with beautiful people on every side. And I still love it in all its beauty and all its ugliness. It's still a beautiful, holy place. I think one thing that I really like is that I grew up in the United States, where we have the freedom of choosing our faith, of practicing our faith, but it's not the focus of our lives. Your little cap broke off, I think.
Oh no!
It was just the side cap.
It just goes off.
No, this is really beautiful, right?
Okay, cool.
So
where were we before the
we just
second
finished
floor?
about what did I learn?
Yes.
Yeah, so I learned a lot. I learned how complicated it is here, but still how beautiful.
Do you still feel so? My father and many people, when they come to Jerusalem specifically, they say they feel this magic. It's not just the visual effect of the place; they can actually feel it. They feel it's a different place. Do you feel that still after 22 years here?
I do. I feel it, especially when I've gone out of the country and come back in. I say I'm going home when I go to the States, but I'm coming home when I come here. At one point, we lived further out from the old city, and we would drive in the morning, and all of a sudden you come around the corner and you see the walls of the city and you breathe. It's like, oh, every day. It's never old. It's that newness of the specialness of Jerusalem. Yeah.
I agree. It's a very special feeling.
I see it in people's faces in our class when they say, "Oh, we're going to Jerusalem that day." You see it in people.
Yeah, and the face of people, especially the people who come here for the first time, when they first see the old city, it's I don't know, it's different than anything else they've seen. It's nice to see.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I have a few questions about sisters, nuns. Sisters?
Sisters.
Okay.
Nuns usually refer to religious who are cloistered. They remain behind their wall, and they actually, if you and I were talking, if I was a nun, we would have a grill between us.
So you're not a nun?
I'm not a nun.
Wow.
I'm a sister. I'm a religious sister.
Wait. So do we call nuns sisters?
They're also called sisters.
Okay,
Yes.
but a sister can be a not nun person,
So
but a nun cannot be a not sister.
There's two kinds. There's contemplative, who are nuns, and there's active communities who are out in society with people. Which is probably why it was a shock to you when you first met me that I was out.
Right.
So yeah, and our community is an active apostolic community. We're out with the people.
So this brings me to the next question, which is, you told me you have been here in the Christian Information Center working for 11 years.
Yes.
What do you do on a day-to-day basis like you yourself, the Christian Information Center?
Okay. So the Christian Information Center is here to assist pilgrims who come to the Holy Land who have a particular need, either they want to celebrate at one of the holy sites of the Christian faith that are under our care, or they've come without a group on their own and they want to know what to do, or they're looking for something specific in mind and they want to know how to get there. It can be as easy as, how do I get to a place, or what is the significance of this place, or what am I supposed to do here? So all those things. And then I can help lost pilgrims. I've become pretty good at finding out, even if they don't speak English and I don't speak their language, how to hook them back up with their groups. Or sometimes people just want to share their experiences. Especially if I've sent them to a place. They don't want to stand in line, or they don't want to go they want something different, a place to go and sit and pray. And then they come back and they tell me their experience. And I have to say, that's what makes it worthwhile for me, to really participate in their spiritual life, in their deepening in their faith.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
The next question is, as a sister, you have certain rules you have to follow, right? You have clothing, and you probably, because I have no idea about any of it, but you probably have things you can do and things you cannot do. My first question is, do you have social networks? And my next question is, do you think there's a rule of something you have to do or not, or you cannot do, that is crazy? Like, you know how sometimes people say, like, do you know that in Alabama it's illegal to, I don't know, kick a can in the street? Very strange laws or customs that just stay there for some reason. Do you have something that you go like, why? Like,
that's a very interesting question. I'll try to answer that as easily as I can. So our life is based on, probably everything we do is based on the vows that we take as religious. So I wear this cord, and it's got 3 knots on it, and it symbolizes the vows of chastity, poverty, and obedience. So chastity not only means that I don't have a husband, but in everything I do, I try to live my relationships with other people in a chaste way, not in a flirting way, or the spirit of what the vows mean. Poverty, I own nothing personal. I don't even own what I wear. It's given to me to use, but I don't cling to it. So the spirit of freedom.
I was going to ask if it feels liberating to not own things.
It's very liberating. And yet we're given things to care for. The homes we live in, we're given to care for. And what we have that we use is also because we need them to minister to others. So if I need certain books for my study, my other sister might not need the same thing, but maybe this I need, or maybe she needs something else in terms of what her ministry is. And then obedience, that we do have an authority who that we are obedient to, that we answer to. And it's hierarchical, so we have our superiors in our homes. We have the Mother General of our community. We have our bishops in whose diocese we live. And then we have the Pope. So it's that line of authority that comes down through. So our life, as I said, is lived according to these vows, and that sort of governs our relationship with created matter, with people, and with God.
That's super interesting. I usually get into the question of, is it me owning stuff and wanting to buy this and buy that, something that I actually want, or do I want just to be there, just own the basic stuff? It's just like religious minimalism in some way. And I was hoping you would say it was freeing and liberating to not own things.
It is, but when you think about, okay, in a family situation, you discuss things. You do I want a new car. Well, do we need a new car? Maybe we need it because we have more children and we need, we discuss things as a community. We bring it to each other and it's discerned. We're asked how we feel about something, and ultimately it's not our decision, but it's in a discernment process, and it's a respectful way of doing it. And then when a discernment is made, then in our vow of obedience, we've said, yes, okay, so this is the will of the community. This is the will of God through my superior.
Very nice. And you mentioned the Pope, and I had a question for later, but I will ask it now. So who's your favorite Pope in history? If it's not the Argentinian Pope Francis, then you're wrong, but it's okay. I'm just kidding. So who's your favorite Pope and why?
For me, it's probably Pope John Paul II, because he was the Pope from my youth. I think when he was elected, I was probably in junior high or high school. And so it was something new, and he was young, and he just had a heart for the young people. And he started these, the World Youth Days, and I participated in a couple of those. He's the Pope from my youth, and I think through my discernment process. Pope Francis is very special, not just because he's from Argentina. So my mother is from a Polish background, and you would have thought that John Paul II would have been her favorite Pope. She loved Pope Francis. And this is just a cute little story, but for my parents' 50th anniversary, our sisters gave my parents a picture of Pope Francis as their anniversary present. And my mother sat every day in a chair. She was not healthy. She had kidney failure and some other problems. But she would sit every day and next to his picture and talk to him. And she's like, I love this Pope. And so I love Pope Francis also because of that. I think this new Pope is very good, not just because he's American, but I think, I don't know, we trust that God gives us the person that's going to lead the church in the way. Have there been popes who have not been the best people maybe throughout history? Probably. But we also believe that when it comes to matters of faith and morals, the Pope speaks infallibly. So God really does protect in those things. So
cool. I love that you love Francis.
Yeah, I do.
And many people will see that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so the next question is, what is it like to be a Christian in Israel, in the only Jewish country in the world? And what does the Christian community look like in Israel? Because it's minority. There aren't many countries in which Christians are a minority, but here you are. So how does that feel like? What does the Christian life looks like, generally speaking, not just very religious people, but the general Christian population? And how does Christianity interact with the other faiths in Israel?
So as complicated as we said the Holy Land is, Christianity itself here in the Holy Land probably is as complicated. There are many different denominations of Christianity here. So you've got the main would be the Latin Church, which is the Roman Catholic Church under the Pope from Rome. Then you've got the Orthodox communities, and the Orthodox can be broken into Russian Orthodox, Greek Orthodox, Armenian Orthodox, Syrian Orthodox, Coptic. For every Orthodox subsection there's a Catholic subsection. So we have Armenian Catholic, Russian Catholic, Syriac Catholic. But let's just for simplicity's sake say the Latin Church, the Roman Catholic, and the Orthodox communities. Then there are the Protestant communities that broke off from the Catholic communities. And every single one comes from a different break-off. Most of the different breaks in the Christian churches come from a difference in theology. So there's some disagreement of theology, that there is a split. The Catholic churches and the Protestant churches probably look more like each other, even in terms of their practice. But according to our faith and the tenets of our beliefs, the Orthodox and the Catholic are much closer in terms of our belief. Practices are very different. So it's complex. The church in Jerusalem, the church in the Holy Land, is made up of the local Christian community who are Arab speaking, most of the local. But there are also Hebrew speaking community here. Because in Israel there are many Christians. Not many, what 2% in the country. But
a few thousand.
When you're yes. So a few thousand. The biggest, and then there's the religious communities. There are about 136 women's communities here, and I think there's about 30 men's communities that are here. Now the men's communities, some of them have big numbers in their communities, so it's not like there's only 30 priests here, but there's also the migrant community. So you've got Christians from the Philippines, from India, from a number of the African countries, okay, all have their own needs and their own little groups that minister to the needs of the different Christian communities from the different countries. Then there's the asylum seekers, many who are Jewish and they came seeking asylum in Israel, many came who are Christian seeking asylum. So they also have their own, again, their needs are very different than the Arab community, whose needs are very different than the African community, or very different from the Hebrew-speaking community. So it's quite complex. Yeah.
It is a very complex place.
Yeah.
With a very complex history.
Yeah. So even though it's a very small church, small meaning it's broken into different sections. So they call them vicariates. Under the church, so I'm only speaking right now about the Latin church.
Yep.
There's the vicariate for Jerusalem and Palestine. There's the vicariate for Israel, because Israeli Christians have very different needs than the Palestinian Christians. Okay. The vicariate for migrants and asylum seekers, they're together. And then the Hebrew-speaking community. But it includes Cyprus. It includes all of Israel, Jerusalem, West Bank. And then you've got the Franciscan custody, who are part of the Latin Catholic Church. And the Franciscan custody is all through Israel, in Jerusalem, in the West Bank, in Cyprus, in Egypt, in Italy, in Syria, Jordan, and Argentina. So they have houses in all those places as part of the same.
Very nice.
So
I like how Argentina keeps coming back to the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah, we're everywhere.
Yes, you are.
Let's say you want to be alone for some time, like just need a few minutes, and you want to go somewhere in the old city to do just that. Where would you go? And the next question is, what's the best hidden gem of Jerusalem that people usually don't go to, that you think like, why do people not know about this place?
Okay. Wow. So the first one is really easy. If I have a few minutes before I need to do something, I go to the Holy Sepulchre. To me, it's the place of resurrection. It's the place of redemption and freedom for all people, as far as I'm concerned. And it's just an amazing place. And sadly, with all the pilgrims here, first starting with COVID and then with subsequent wars, there have been, of course, a lot less pilgrims, which makes it a beautiful place to go and find solitude and quiet. Usually it's not like that. Usually you're sort of working your way through the people. And there's rhythm to the Holy Sepulchre, that a room of prayer that the different communities have, that it's nice to go in and participate. They do a what do you call it? They have a ceremony every evening. In the summer it's at 5, in the winter it's at 4, where they go to the different altars in the different stations, and one focuses on a different aspect of like the final hours of Christ's life. So when he's scourged, when his clothing, when he takes his cross, when he meets his mother, when he's nailed to the cross, it goes through these to the resurrection. It's beautiful. It's chaotic, but I've learned that you have to sort of tune out the chaos that's around you and just focus on the internal prayer. Yeah. the internal part of it. So that's go-to place.
And then the hidden gem.
And the hidden gem. This is sort of strange, but on the roof of the Holy Sepulchre,
Oh, I think I know what you. Yeah.
there's a Coptic church. So there's the community lives on the rooftop, and that's full, and it's beautiful to see their unique lifestyle. But there's this little church across from it called St. Helens, and it's a little tiny church, wooden church, and it's just so beautiful and it's so peaceful. And when you go in, there's a cistern in there that you can go down into.
Wow.
You have to really duck down and go down into this cistern, and it still has water in it, beautiful clear water. And sometimes you can go way far down, and right now you can only go down maybe one layer of the stairs because the water is filled up. But it backs up to the cistern inside the Holy Sepulchre, where they believe that the true cross was found, the cross that Christ was crucified on. I don't tell everybody about it, but when people are looking for something different, that's where I send people. And they always come back.
I actually read about it yesterday when I was researching for this day. Mm-hmm. Very nice, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, we have 2 more minutes.
Okay.
And my last questions are, okay, so I have 2 more things. The first one is, let's say someone comes to you and they tell you, listen, I want to become a sister or a nun. What would you tell that person? What would be your questions, or what would you like to know if that person could be, let's say, fit or not fit, but would have the character to do that, the vocation and whatnot?
I would tell them to build a relationship with a community, with a religious community. There are some people who hop from community to community looking to see what's going to fit them. But I think it's important for young women and young men, because men need to discern as well, to find where they're going to fit, not what's going to fit them. And build a relationship, because it is a process. It's no one shows up at the door ready, you know. I mean, when you meet your future spouse, you meet each other ready. You have to take time to get to know each other. We need to get to know the young person. They need to get time to know us, to see and discern together. Is this really what God's calling to? So that's what I would say.
Awesome. So the last question, and it's actually an invitation to you to ask whatever you want to ask. If you want to ask anything about myself, the podcast, about whatever you feel like asking, if you want to.
Well, I think as I've been sitting here talking to you, one of the things that comes to my mind is that this has been one of the most interesting interviews I've ever had, because most of the time it's from people who are Christian.
Yep.
And so they already know the answers. And I have to say, your questions hit me on a deeper level, because I was very impressed. And I guess, what would my question be out of that? Why? Why did you want to ask me?
That's a very good question. So when I was thinking about starting the podcast and the social media content and all the things that I wanted to talk about, I want to talk about history and religion and philosophy and current events and past events. And one thing that I really, really wanted to talk about was people. Because I think history is nothing without the people who actually were there and felt whatever that felt like. And places are places, but without people, they don't mean anything. The people who were there and the events that happened to them is what's significant to the place. And I want to speak with different people in Israel from different backgrounds and different religions, and someone who lives in Tel Aviv and someone who lives here in Jerusalem. And I have I spoke with a friend of mine from a previous job who lives right in the border of with Lebanon in an Arab village. And I want to go there, not right now because it's a complicated time to go there, but I will go there at some point. And I want to show the diversity that we have here in Israel, and I want to know about the diversity because I don't know much about it. I know lots about the Jewish community here and in the center of the country, in Tel Aviv and around it, but I don't know much about other places. And I think most of the people won't know much about these backgrounds. So I really want to speak with the different people who live here. And as I said in the beginning, I think you're very cool. I asked you some questions in the tours that we had, and the answers were amazing. And you're a really interesting person to me. So for all of those reasons, I wanted to have this interview with you.
Well, it's definitely mutual, and I'm really honored, so thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Cool. This was awesome.
Thank you.